Hello traders, Rich here, and here is a quick but detailed update on GRT. As usual, if you guys like video analysis, let me know in the comments or simply leave a like. So let's get started. I've been getting many comments lately that my English is very fast and sometimes not clear. The reason why I talk this fast sometimes is because I want to make or to include as many details as possible, and at the same time I don't want the video to be more than 4 or 5 minutes. I don't want to waste your time. At the same time, I want to be as efficient as possible. And maybe my English may not be clear sometimes, it's because it's not my first language, it's actually my third one. So in this video, I'll try to talk as slow as possible, so expect it to be a little bit longer than the usual ones. And please let me know in the comments if it's better now. So let's get started, right? On GRT, as we can clearly see, we were overall bearish. The price was making lower highs and lower lows, right? And we knew around this area that we might have a shift in momentum as the sellers were getting weaker. So how do we know it? First of all, we were overall bearish. We had this big impulse movement pushing price downward. It was steep, aggressive, big, whatever you want to call it. Then we had a correction, another big impulse movement pushing price downward. It was also steep and even bigger than the previous one. However, starting from here, we can see that the impulse is getting flat, right? So steep, steep, and then flat, which means that the sellers are still in control, making a lower low. However, they aren't as strong as before and couldn't push the price as they were pushing before, right? But they are still in control. So it's not a direct signal to buy just yet, but it's an early alert that you might have a shift in momentum. Then the price made another correction and even a smaller and more flat impulse. Right? So aggressive, aggressive, flat, flat, and small. So, and of course, also you can clearly see that the price also couldn't make a lower low, instead made a higher low, which is our second early alert that the buyers might be taking over very soon. But of course, the sellers are still in control, and for the buyers to take over, they will have to break above the previous high, which couldn't do for a long period of time. So high, a lower high, an equal or lower high, then lower, lower, and this was our last high. And after a break above it, then we had a confirmation that we might have a potential shift in momentum from bearish to bullish. And it happens to be also, which makes the setup even stronger. It was around a demand area. As you can see, we had an aggressive movement upward from it, and it's also around zero point 0.5 round number, which adds more strength to our demand or support area in general. So what we know just from daily time frame, and it's very important to always start from the higher time frames to know where we stand in the market, right? And then we'll zoom into lower time frames to look for our triggers. So just from daily time frame, as you can see, from the information that we gathered now, we know that we are overall bullish, and this was our first impulse movement that broke this previous high, that broke this overall bearish trend. So now we are bullish. That's what we know, and thus we know that we are currently in a correction phase. So when we are overall bullish, we'll be waiting for the correction to be about to end to catch what the next impulse movement, because now we are bullish. However, we can't really know where the correction would end. It can end here, here, or even, as you can see, price is going lower for a deeper correction before going up. That's why we don't buy blindly, right? So the last high, as you can see here, is not enough just to confirm that you can buy blindly. We always wait for a rejection area to confirm it, and of course this is one, which is, as you can see, the zero point 0.5 and this entire area. Second is we want also the buyers to prove control again from a medium term perspective. So from daily time frame, we are overall bullish from a long term perspective after breaking this trend, and however we are overall bearish from a medium term perspective. So we want the medium term perspective to be aligned with the long term perspective. So we want the buyers to also prove control from a medium term perspective, and then we'll be buying on this break upwards. Now, I personally like to zoom into lower time frames to see the bigger picture or the better picture for entry, but for those who don't have time or don't like lower time frames, can just stick to the daily time frame. So you can just like wait for the correction to be about to end, and I don't actually know about your trading plan, but you can also stick to the market structure. So wait, for example, for a small pattern or a previous high to be broken. So wait for any signs of reversal to which signal that the buyers are taking over. For example, here you can wait for this high, small high, or even this high here. For those who like me like to zoom into lower time frames, I personally like to zoom into M30 and H1. So now we'll be looking for buy setups, right? So if you zoom into H1, you can see that the price formed a big wedge pattern, which is, as you can see, in red. And a wedge pattern is even a stronger bullish reversal pattern than a channel, right? Because the lower trend line is steeper, which means that the sellers aren't able to make very deep lower lows. Right. Anyway, I leave this comparison between the wedge and channel for another video. From a short-term perspective, like from M30, it would look even better. We have also this wedge pattern that price broke it upwards. So from a medium term or from a short-term perspective, the buyers took over here. However, for a medium-term perspective, for the buyers to take over, they will have to break above the bigger channel, which is in red, which is here. We will need to see a break above it so that the buyers would prove control. And of course, for those who already know me, have been following me for a while, know that I highlight this one as our trigger, right? So you see this trigger on almost all my charts. And I personally don't like to trade crypto on margin. I just trade it on spot. I buy and hold. And this is not like a target. It's just for overall direction that I'll be buying, because I'll buy and hold. So I don't have a specific target. Of course, sometimes as an exception, I close my trade and reopen it at a better level, but almost all the time I just buy and hold and look for other instruments to add to my portfolio. But for those who trade it on margin, like follow your trading plan, your stop loss can go below the previous swing low, and always target at least double your stop loss size. Okay, so that's basically it. And I personally trade Forex on margin. If you can see from my previous ideas, I always post one Forex and one crypto. So that's it. Let me know if it's better now. I try to talk as slow as possible, and I see you on the next one.